Welcome, everyone. I'm Eli Gumble, and this is the Rock and Robots podcast. It's a little taste of the most unique gig night in London, which is called Rock and Robots, like the podcast. And it features a couple of indie music acts with a robot fighting tournament at the beginning and some open mic time at the end. Today, I'll be telling you about the night which took place on the 8th of September 2024, with interviews from our acts, French Toast, Mother Can You Hear Me, and me, as well as an overview of the robot fighting. Since this is a pilot episode, I'll start by telling you the story of how this night came to be. Back in 2022, I hadn't played a gig or seen several of my friends in a while, so I decided to book out a small venue called The Others in Stoke Newington and have a sort of open mic party where I would play a headline set. The owner of the venue liked what I'd put on and said he had a spare night once a month and invited me to organise something in that night. So I decided to bring in my other passion, which is robot fighting. As time went on, the venue made me a new arena. I booked bigger and bigger local acts, and the presentation of the night got a bit more polished. I've now done 11 of them, and I now have posters and business cards. So there are the business cards. People who are watching on YouTube will be able to read those. It just says what's happening. It's QR codes to the WhatsApp channel and my website, and A4 posters, so glossy that they are reflecting all the all the lighting I've got behind my PC. The color scheme of the night comes from the corners of the robot arena, which is green, yellow, pink, and blue. And that carries through. It's a very consistent branding. It comes through all on the poster. It's a very multicolored night, reflecting the very multicolored nature of what goes on here. So this podcast is a little companion piece to that night, and I thought it'd be nice to get to know some of the people I'm putting on and some of the people who are making the robots, who are making the night. And we are going to start with an interview I did with Eloise from French Toast. Let's go. All right, joining me now on this first, I think it's a podcast, it could be a show, is Eloise from French Toast. Hello.
Hello.
Um, yeah, so French Toast, I guess there's a lot of story behind the name. Tell us who's in it and what it's about.
Um, Honestly, like it's not that complicated. I was just looking for an artist name, and the artist used to be Eloise, just like Elo. And then I was like, no, I just want it to be more of a band kind of thing, because obviously I collaborate with my producer, I collaborate with my guitar player Graham, and then like all the parts, it's like my bandmates who are rating it. So, yeah, and then basically I am from France and a group there until I was 18 and then I moved in here, and I felt like I wanted a name that represented the cultures that I have that are both like from France and from England, because the music scene in London really inspired my entire work. So I just wanted something that sounded indie and kind of kind of something a bit punk in the name. And yeah, that's how we came with French toast, because French toast is actually, in French we say pain perdu, which means lost bread for some reason, and that's a dish that like I really love this dessert. So I was like, okay, we're just gonna be French toast, and that's it. That stayed.
So I met you guys at a gig in Tottenham at Post Bar, and I just happened to be substituting in for a band, and yeah, I liked what you guys brought up there. There's a lot of kind of energy to what you're doing, definitely,
Mhm.
especially with the instrumentalists. Tell us about them.
Yeah, well, we're now four, because unfortunately Luca, who's a rhythm guitar player, he had to move back to Manchester. But uh, yeah, I met Graham. He's my main guitar player. I met him like a year ago or something like that, and I met him at a gig, and I was like, he used to play in another band, and when I saw him, I was literally like shocked at his energy, his skills. And then basically I started a jam called Mystic Hive recently that I organized in my warehouse. So I invited him to that. And then from then, like, and that was back in, I think that was back in like December, something like that. From then on, like, we started to click again. And then basically all the songs that I wrote, like, he kind of just redid them in his own way. And I feel like that's why we're a band, because we're really like an entity in terms of like energy. We are like really on the same level of energy, and that's what we want to do. We want to basically do a show that's punk. So Graham is literally the only guitar player I know who can roll on the floor. I mean, he didn't do it that day, but he can literally just roll on the floor and still play the guitar like literally a god. So I think it's like completely unique. And then we got Joe, the drummer, joining in the band recently. He used to stay in Bristol, but then he's just joined us for a few months. And then we've got Brian on the bass, who's covering for James, who's our producer and who co-wrote all the songs and all the parts. So yeah, we just wanted to be very punk, like very punk energy, but also we've got this massive influence from soul, funk, psychedelic, blues, neo soul, and that we want to incorporate that musicality within our show. Like, we don't want to be just a grunge band, like we don't want to be just a punk band. Like, we want it to be a crazy show in terms of energy, but we also want it to be like quality music. And like we also have a garage song, so like we really want to explore all these genres. And I feel like the band I've got right now, they have the skills and ability and willingness to do that, because it's hard to find a musician who's not in a specific like genre and only wants to do one thing. And I think that's why it's working well between us, because we have the same like thrive to play something that's super energetic but also like very good and diverse musically.
How long's the band been running, and what would you say your biggest successes have been in that time?
So I started playing with James, so the producer and the one who co-wrote the songs. We started to play together 2 years ago, but then we had a lot of ups and downs. Like, we've had moments where we didn't play. At some point we didn't do anything really for about like almost a year, and then it really started again when I met up with Graham again in December. And then our first show was, I think, in February, something like that. So with this lineup, like, things have really been starting to be like serious since February. And then I think our biggest success was the before last show we did. So I organized an event. That was the first time we did it. It's an event called Boca Rouge, and it's like a charity event, and we've had artists in different bands. It was the Victoria. It was really successful because I think it was the first time that we played with some actual like good like renowned bands. So we played with Daffodils, we played with Cap Orange, we played with Sexy Moms and Yoga Moms, sorry. and it was quite full, and it was quite like a quality show. So I think that was our biggest success. But we're still trying to get into the nicest venue. Like, I think our goal, the next thing for us will be to play at the Windmill. And I know it's not that, doesn't sound that hard, but to us, like, that we just really want to have something ready to give to the Windmill, so that we could play there. Because to like this is going to the Windmill has been like my biggest influence, like musically. Like, it really, because I used to do just like soul and jazz, and when I went to the Windmill I was like, fuck, this is insane. Like, the energy is insane.
I would need to learn more about venues, because I came into the promotion world without really intending to be a promoter. I don't know a lot of people on the scene. But the people I have met seem to know each other. Like, Half Star, and they played my event about 2 months ago.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm big fan. I've been for a long time, actually. The first time we met was like 2 years ago as well. It was at an open mic called Phil's Open Mic, and when I met them, they literally didn't release anything. They was just starting, and we kind of both individually in our own, like as a band, so we just really like developed. So yeah, I really love them. Yeah.
They are very nice. Yeah. Thank you for your time, Eloise. We'll see you in a couple of days. And to play yourself out, you have a song for us. Please tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So it's the first ever release that we're gonna give to the world as a band. It's called Floating Away. So this is a song I wrote like 2 years ago, and this is the song that like we played the most. We co-wrote it with my producer James Stickland, and it's about body acceptance and how like society pressures you to be either skinny or you know, or you look too fat. And it's talking about like the way I came up with this song in the first place was I was thinking of like I see myself as like a, you know, cis female, and I was just thinking of how would it feel to be a transgender, and then this is how I started the song by writing you know, you don't know how it is to be in my skin, like, because my skin is not my skin. And then after that it kind of like went broad, like to talk about like not feeling like you're in the right body, like feeling, you know, ashamed. Also like talking about like when you're being catcalled constantly in the street. And like the thing is with this song I also mixed French with English, so I write in both languages because I really want to incorporate that. And I think the most important thing for me is to own the fact that French Toast is a feminist band, and like this is part of our identity as a band. And I'm actually proud to play with cis straight guys who are okay with owning that identity. And Floating Away is a feminist song. It's about like breaking free from the social construction of you need to be skinny, you need to be fat, and also, you know, I went through a period of time where I had really long hair and was really skinny, and like I mean, I was being harassed on the street, and I'm still now being harassed on the street, but like twice I've shaved my head because I felt like the weight of the society was so heavy on my shoulders, like constantly. And I even, you know, write that in the song. I write, shaving my head, I'm still objectified. I don't know what to eat. I don't know who to trust. And yeah, it's a really, I think, empowering song for anyone out there who is struggling with their body image and their sexuality and their identity. And I believe in a world where you could be anything you want. That's your problem. Like, I think people need to be respectful of that. And so yeah, that's what Floating Away is about. It's the most soulful song that we're going to release. We're going to release 3 singles. We're going to release Floating Away. Then we're going to release a song called Chaos, which is a very grunge, heavy song. And then Heartbeat, which is a garage song. So it will show the plurality of the genres that we like to play and like to sing about.
Okay, voilà, écoutez la première émission de Pain Perdu, Floating Away.
Yeah, okay.
That was Floating Away by French Toast, who are at the moment seeking a new guitarist for their next show in Bristol, which is going to be on the 18th of October. And we may well see them at Rock and Robots sometime in the future. We are actually changing the format of Rock and Robots a little bit. There will only be one scheduled act plus me in the future as a little trial, just to see how it works. It was Venue Guy's suggestion, Simon. We will see how it goes. Next up, in an interview recorded after the event, it's Sad Lady Punk duo, Mother Can You Hear Me? Hi, guys.
Hello.
Okay, yeah. Introduce yourselves to the people at home.
I'm Georgia.
I'm Rosie.
We're Mother Can You Hear Me? We're a like two-piece
Alternative indie
rocky, funky,
Funky
poppy
vibes.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen. So you describe yourselves as Sad Lady Punk, which is what I put on the posters outside every time. Does
Yeah.
that mean anything particular? And who else is in that kind of bubble?
That's so
I
true.
think probably anyone who wants to be.
Yeah.
It's a state of being. I would
Yeah.
say.
Rather than a genre.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of our songs, especially like the old ones, have a lot of just sort of like sad elements to them. So that's where that came from. But we're trying not to take ourselves too seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds fun. Yeah. So how did this band get together as a band? Who found who?
Oh, really got
Wow.
to stretch back on memories.
Yeah, this is yeah. So you've been working as a band, releasing for at least 7 years. How long before that did
Yeah.
things start?
God, it's a long time.
That is a long
Yeah.
time.
We met at university.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and we were in another sort of band, sort of not really, with another guy. And then when we left, Rosie and I moved in together, like moved to London together.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to keep playing music. So we were like, we don't need anyone else.
Yeah. Kind of.
And yeah, I think it just sort of went from there, really.
Yeah.
Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, pretty much. Because I think that like a lot of what we were doing in this other band was very much focused on like this other guy had written like a load of songs and he had the sort of vision of what he wanted for it, which was obviously great, and we were happy to like put our own input into that. But then I think we were kind of like, okay, if he's not here, we're not like recording with him, we're not like doing music with him, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
And just sort of coming up with our own songs and the kind of vibe we wanted to put out.
So whenabouts does the name Mother Can You Hear Me come about, and what did you have any names before that?
We were originally called Mother.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think there was, I do know why. We used to watch, we still do, watch RuPaul's Drag Race a lot together. And there was a queen at the time who came into the workroom and she was like, Mother has arrived. And we were like, we want that energy.
Yeah.
So we called ourselves Mother. And then another band, I won't mention their name, but they were
You can guess what it could be.
they were like, you can't be called that, that's what we're called. So then we changed it to Mother Can You Hear Me?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think we used to like say it in a funny way or something, and we were just like, oh, let's do that.
Well, it was like kind of, this also came from a drag queen. I think we had quite a big drag race obsession.
Yeah.
And so I think then like it sort of lent itself to us naming the band, basically.
It was the only thing that we would say.
Yeah.
Like just was quotes from drag queens.
Yeah, it was pretty much constantly quoted. So then I think we just took whatever we could and put it into our band as it happens.
Definitely, yeah. If you're going from the Drag Race quotes book, then I guess you could have any number of names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mother Can You Hear Me is an okay one to Death and Death Drop, or
Yeah.
Miss Vanjie.
Death Drop feels a bit more like heavy metal.
Yeah, it feels quite metal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't really be Miss Vanjie. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to think. Yeah, that's the only two quotes I know really.
That's great. They're good
Okay,
ones.
yeah. In terms of successes as a band, what do you reckon are your standout moments?
Personally, for me, I think it was really fun and I guess successful. we put out this song called Sorry for Saying Hello, which was it's just one that we really enjoyed working on. And we did like a music video for it when we were like in we were like in Eastbourne, but we went to Brighton, I think, for the day. And we just put out this really funny music video and just sort of posted it around. And then this other band,
oh my god,
got in contact with us.
Cast Ashore.
Yeah. So they got in contact with us and they were like, oh, do you want to just like meet up and record some music together, do like a split EP?
Yeah.
And we went up to Sheffield. Went up to Sheffield. And
that was so fun. I have the pictures from it.
Yeah. And we recorded a couple of our songs.
We did like a split EP. This is us, and this is the guys from Cast Ashore.
Yeah.
And that's like the EP artwork as well.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
That was good fun.
We did like, we basically, the first day, we did like just recording and music and stuff like that. And then we did a show with them in that evening, which was so much fun. And then the next day we just hung out,
played crazy golf.
I mean, it was just like, it was a good hang. And I think it was nice because it felt very much like being in like a sort of a music community with some people who we got along with and were really fun. So.
They were so nice. They just like let us stay at their house and record at their studio. I think we'd never recorded at a studio before. That was the first time we'd ever recorded like not in our bedroom. So that was really fun. That was nice.
Yeah, I think that was pretty standout. And then I'd say like the gig for Come Round.
Yeah, that was good fun
because it was like everyone was there for that, and that was really fun.
Some special guests.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing keys and bass, which we've never really had before. So we were a 4-piece for a song, which is crazy.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a 2-piece with just guitar and drums, there's people could say there's things missing. I mean, do you feel like there's anything missing from your live shows when you perform as a 2-piece, or do you feel like that you've got everything you need?
I don't know. Sometimes I wish I had an extra hand so I could just like play a little keyboard line or something.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I mean, I quite like it. It's quite different.
Yeah. I think in a way it's like you said, there's like maybe smaller bits, so like elements that are missing that would be like fun to add in. But I people tend to really find it interesting and exciting to see how we can do like a big sound together, but only have the two of us on stage, you know?
I think the way that you do your guitar, it just makes it sound like we have bass as well, so like in that sense it doesn't really feel like anything's missing for me. It's quite scary sometimes when there's no one to hide behind.
That's so true. It's all kind of out there.
But I think that's part of it, is like just getting out there and doing it.
Exactly.
Doing your best.
For sure.
Yeah, we've had a couple of other 2-person bands at Rock and Robots. We had Saxophone Band, who are a baritone sax and drums, and that's it. They play. And he puts his saxophone brackets band.
Oh, nice!
Brilliant.
I like it.
They're playing again in January because it's hard to describe how hype everyone gets when they start. They play a couple of originals, and they've covered a few things, like they do a cover of Sandstorm by Darude. And then we've got people next month. They're 2 girls, 2 women, guitar and drums. They're called Lovell, and
cool.
I describe them as you but more middle class. They introduced one of their songs by saying this song's about like the recipe for romance, but it's also a recipe for parsley dip. So that's the kind of they have on their website. It's some artist meets Waitrose. The kind of reviews they're getting.
I love it.
Wow. Brilliant. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I'll take that.
I met you at a gig where you supported Grapefruit in 2018. I don't expect you to remember every band you've supported.
Where was it? Do you know where it was?
It's one. I think it was an Absent Kelly or something gig in.
Oh right.
Yeah. I've heard stuff. Yeah. Was this a pay to play one?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
or just not really. They don't treat you very well. Like you don't get when you go in and you have to write down on the door who you're there to see. Is that vibe?
One time they didn't ask me, so I don't know where those £6 went.
Where that pound went?
Yeah.
Not something we do at Rock and Robots, but and I've never been tempted to surrender to it. What's it like doing pay for play, and is it a risk?
Oh, we've not. I mean, that was a long time ago. We've never like paid to play a show. I think we were just a bit naive, and we were like, oh, let's just play a gig. Like we've never like bought tickets to then sell or anything like that. Like I wouldn't do that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I think when you're young and like people are like, oh, you should come and play. You're like, yeah, okay, that would be fun. We'll get our friends down. You don't really think about like, oh, maybe I should like be respected for my time and efforts or whatever, But I think it's been a long time since we've done one of those types of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think also because you're sort of starting out, you're like, I need to take anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of just think, oh, well, that's fine, or we'll just take it and all of that, and then you get to like doing loads of like different gigs in different places, and you get offered to like come back, or other people see you and they're like, oh, we'd love to have you perform here or something like that, and you get offers that actually are substantial, and you can keep up more with people and having connections and stuff like that, rather than like feeling like you have to take anything that's thrown at you.
Yeah, like an unknown podcast pilot.
Yeah. I love that.
No, I'm excited.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, if anything.
Yeah, I used to do radio back in university, so I'm kind of experienced at this. It was interviewing university bands, so
cool.
I was like the historian of the band Stock at Warwick.
Very good.
That's what they kind of just hired me for the radio show with no experience, and I was like, okay, I guess I can do this, and I just kind of took it over.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah. For some reason, I'd been listening to you since like 2019. I've only listened to the EPs. How was it? Summer and autumn, I think. For some reason, I just never listened to winter and spring. Maybe they're not on Spotify, but I know that at some point in maybe 2019-20, a couple of things changed in the songs I was listening to on Spotify, particularly the song "If." I prepared you for this slightly before the interview. What was the choice for that change? And will we hear it again? It was like, I don't know. Can you send me a copy of the original, because I like that film better. I'll buy it, don't worry.
So funny.
That is funny.
I think right, so I'm trying to remember the timeline of all this. We put those EPs out.
Firstly, can I just add, all of the EP, there were 4 EPs that were all the seasons, and then we put them all into one album.
Yeah.
So actually, if you listen, I think it's called Mother Nature. That one has like all 4 EPs in it.
Yeah.
Rather than separate, they're just all together. So the songs from winter and spring.
Yeah, they're all in there.
They're in there as well.
And I think and it goes in order of, I think, how we released it as well. So I think you're starting from the top.
Winter,
top down,
spring, summer, autumn.
Yeah, exactly.
Back round again.
You're going from the oldest to then the newest. If I don't did
we make it like faster?
Maybe,
because it's exactly the same chords as
that's dopamine.
Yeah, I just put a capo on the 2nd fret, I think, maybe the 3rd, maybe that was the change.
Well, dopamine was sort of, I think they were sort of meant to go together as like basically the same song but different. And if you wanted like a version of the song that was a bit faster and a bit more sort of like rocky, rather than like, I think dopamine was more dreamy. If you wanted that, then you could listen to If, and if you wanted the dreamy one, you could listen to Dopamine. It was meant to be like a sort of combination track almost. I don't know if I like changed it. I know that for oh my god, I'm trying to remember what the songs were. Definitely Sorry for Saying Hello, and there was one other song I mixed them differently. So like the original mixes I put out for them, I then took down and put up different mixes for them later on, because I basically was just like, these are not good, and I was just like, I can do this better. I know I can do this better.
I love that.
So essentially, they're the same song with all the same components, so just mixed a bit differently. I don't know if I did that for If as well. So
we'll have to have a look.
Yeah, like just trying to remember this. This is like around COVID time, when I had time to sort of like just basically take what the stuff that I had and like just do something different with it. But it's hard to sort of remember what that was like, because obviously COVID is like a big blur.
Big black hole in the memory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So from what I remember, the original, I'm not going to dwell on this for too long, but the original went like, I'm in a hard place now, in a hard place.
Yeah.
Right.
Hard
place.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. So well, I think that's dopamine though.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think so.
I think
so
that is. They're the same.
Yeah, they're the same but different. So if you go and listen, so basically you can listen to the original that you remember, just listen to dopamine.
All right. Well, as in lyrics, or just like the theme, like the way it goes?
Literally the chords, the structure.
Okay.
Like it's like the music is the same. I think it's just like a tone or I don't know. It's just like transposed up a few steps.
Yeah. And the lyrics a bit faster.
Yeah, it's played. So like dopamine is like picked, whereas If is like strummed.
Yeah.
But it's the same chords, it's the same rhythm, everything.
Yeah. This has become it's less of a podcast, more of me just kind of fan interaction. Yes.
No, it's good.
It's fine.
Yeah.
This is archive retrival.
It makes us think about it. Yeah.
Like,
This is Louis Theroux going back through his previous documentaries. Yeah. So I think there's been a little bit of maturing in your songwriting, because I remember listening to Always Moving the first time, and you're talking about growing up, things have moved on, and then you say I'm 20 now. It's like I was like 26 at the time. Hey, you can't talk about growing up.
Yeah.
And in Come Round you start with Now You're Bald, and I think it's cute. Which is something nice. Something my girlfriend can sing to me in a few years.
Yeah.
Have you noticed this maturity maturing in, I guess, yourselves and the writing?
Yeah, I think, I mean, personally for me, I think all of the same things are still there. I'm just like, oh, they're okay. No, it happens. You know, before when you're young, you're like, oh, everything's moving so quickly, I need to keep up. Whereas now I'm just like, no, I'll probably never keep up, and that's all right. Just go at your own pace, you know. I think everyone kind of says that as they grow up. You're just like, oh, you just realize that no one else has any idea as well. So it's less sort of I guess the way that like I would write now is less, what's the word where you like look introspective?
Oh, introspective.
Oh my god, look at me with the long words. Less introspective, I think, and more like, you know, less self-critical. More just like, oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think also it's taking situations and applying less, like, I don't know, less guilt to it. It's like if you look at a situation where you're like Come Round, for example, is about like, oh my god, I fancy these people, but I'm like, how do I feel about it? And being like, oh, I understand that I haven't got the amount of self-love for myself that I want to have, rather than being like, I fucking hate myself. It's kind of, you're kind of like in the
more
same
objective.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the same situation, but like understanding that you want to like improve, rather than kind of being like, well, everything sucks.
It's not like, why am I not good enough? It's like, well, I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry.
Some percussion in the back.
Thought add in a bit of percussion, shake it up a bit. Yeah, but it's interesting the way that you're talking about it from like a more literal. Like literal and like physical perspective. It's just something I guess like realize less of. That's not a conscious thing, that's just sort of happened, but that's good to know.
Bald people are cute too.
Respect.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I don't know how long.
Oh, same, mate. Just got
Yeah.
these bits cut, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda.
I've always had a massive forehead, so it's hard to keep track of exactly how that's going. But the back is
It doesn't come across as massive.
No,
Yeah.
it really doesn't.
Well,
Yeah. Suits
well,
Yeah.
it's I think up to 6 fingers.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that is massive.
Do you know what? It's not obvious.
Now, if I want to recommend you guys to a friend, who would I say you'll like these guys if you like blank?
Mm.
That is a tough question.
Pause for thought.
Yeah. I think we always have difficulty with this question.
Yeah.
I
feel like it changes.
It does. That's so true, actually. Because I think what we would have said 7 years ago isn't what we would necessarily say now.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But it also means that then we have to think of different people, which is really hard. Oh, God.
I actually don't really know.
I'm not 100% sure. I feel like...
And that's just me being ignorant. That's not me being like, oh, we don't sound like anyone. That's... like, I'm not saying we're unique. I'm saying that I haven't listened to enough music.
No, I think...
Yeah, I feel like that sometimes as well.
Yeah.
I get it. I feel like when I've heard people talk about us, people sort of tend to say like early White Stripes sort of stuff. But I don't know if that's because we're a duo.
Yeah.
People just like put that on us because we are only two people. But I can kind of see it. I feel like that kind of makes sense. If you're looking at more, I guess, kind of underground stuff, probably like Tiger's Jaw.
Yeah. Are they still going? That was one
They
for
are.
back in the day. Yeah.
They are still going. But again, I would say early Tiger's Jaw. I don't think it's what they do now, but like
I feel like we take influences from different places.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the lyrics almost are quite disjointed with the music sometimes. Which is kind of fun. Yeah. I feel like the music is maybe influenced more by like rockier things.
Yeah.
And then the lyrics are more influenced by acoustic music more.
Yeah.
Like, but I can't think of any examples.
That's so good.
I think damn. Sorry, we have not done a good answer. We've not done good.
Well, not
answering this question.
What I would say actually, okay, rather than saying here are the bands or here are the musicians that we are like, what I would say is if you like the stylings of like sort of indie kind of punky rock music, but you kind of enjoy the lyrics that you said are more related to like acoustic musicians, maybe a bit more like well, I mean, I know you said like we're less introspective, but I would say like introspective lyrics, then that's what we are. So, you know, if you wanted your favorite acoustic singer to be a bit more rocky, that will probably give you that.
If you're confused, I think you probably like us as well.
Yeah, if you're a bit confused by what we're talking about, what's going on.
We need to get better at answering that question.
I feel like it's one of those questions which is just always like confused me, and I've never been able to answer it properly.
Yeah, well, now you can say lovable but less middle class.
Yeah, exactly. Lovable but less middle class. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Just cut that in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to them.
Yeah. From my limited music bank, I'd say there are elements of Green Day in what you do. Yeah.
I can hear that in the music.
But I mean, there's elements of Green Day in what I do. It's
yeah. It's chords, isn't it?
Yes.
Chords, like the snare on the 2 and the 4.
Yeah. If you like that, you'll probably like us. Really.
Yeah. If you like 3 chords in different orders for different sections of the songs,
and perhaps a 4th added into the bridge.
Yeah. Apart from the ones that you write, then there's loads of chords.
That's not true, actually. That is maybe the opposite, because I'm worried to
sounds like there's
play.
You make it sound like there's loads.
Thank you. There isn't.
Or who are your FFOs?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I
So-
see people write it down.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
know what
Yeah,
FFO was for ages.
I have the most stupid FFOs. It's been based on what what other bands who played with me have done. But like people have said things like Daniel Johnston, Tiny Tim. It's like, is someone not telling me things about my voice or something?
I don't know who they are.
Oh, Daniel Johnston is guy with.
Should I know?
He's seriously good and emotional songwriter, but not the best or most talented singer or
Right.
player. Tiny Tim, tiptoe through the window. That guy, sort of comedy
Okay.
ukulele guy.
Considering your rendition of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I do it on stage, but like, and like people say I remind them of Monty Python as well with the silliness and. But like I've had to put a disclaimer on the gig post. It's like,
song,
yeah,
I'd say the rock song
Rosie
gives.
loves the rock.
It's
song.
my
Yeah.
favorite.
Is it called
song
the rock
right?
song or
bag
full of
bag
rocks?
full of rocks.
Bag-
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's on the streaming services if you want to listen
I,
to
Yeah.
it.
I want to promote
It's
that
on
song.
playlist.
Great, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so let's move to the end. You stuff you generally promote. You have merch. You have pin badges. You had t-shirts. Is there another run of those coming?
We have a few of the blue ones left,
Mm.
and we're on the front like this
Yeah.
with a box
Yeah,
of wine.
Box of wine. Yeah.
It says box of wine ain't that fine.
Yeah.
My girlfriend has one of those. She says it's really comfortable.
Oh yay,
Oh,
that's good.
Good.
Yeah, I see them sometimes. Like I see someone wearing one, I'm like, wow, box
Yeah.
of wine.
I know.
That's normally my mum.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
As whoever is like, I'm like, oh, look at that. You're wearing that.
So,
Is Box of Wine from one of your songs, or is that just a in joke?
no, we just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. We probably had a box of wine and we were like, this is a great idea.
Yeah. It's a fabulous idea
Yeah.
for a t-shirt.
I mean, apart
Okay.
from merch, which is available on our Bandcamp,
Mhm.
and obviously at shows,
Yeah.
we're in the process of like releasing more things. So we
Mhm.
recently released "Come Round,"
Yeah.
our single. We've got another one on the way,
Mhm.
which I'm very excited about. Called
Yeah.
"Do Better." Oh, can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We play it live. So
Yeah, we
it's
play it
not
live.
really that much of a secret.
We don't have a release date for it yet, but we're working on it and it will come out soon.
Yeah.
So watch this space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean,
Go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
no,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, just like watch out for what we're gonna do next on all our different social medias. So,
That mother, can you hear me?
yes,
All one word, no space.
yeah,
We ain't got time for that.
this is so true.
Yeah. Okay, thank you guys for meeting up for this podcast. And that was Mother Can You Hear Me? If you want to hear them, you can come round and you can hear Mother Can You Hear Me and come round.
Yeah.
Love it.
Very
Thank
good,
you so
very
much
good.
for having me.
Yeah. She knows.
That was Mother Can You Hear Me with their latest single, Come Round. And yeah, I said all the puns before the song, so not much I can do right now. It would not be Rock and Robots without robots. And while in this section I would normally have another Roboteer on, but it's the pilot episode. We're still working things out. So I'm going to introduce you the sport of robot fighting and one of my own robots. So this is Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. He's a 150-gram ant weight robot. Acts as a grabber / death roller. It has servos powering a jaw at the front and a tail at the back, which can... The plan of attack is to grab an opponent in its jaws and then, like a crocodile, death roll them so they hopefully can't get up or are stuck, or yeah, control them to roll them into a pit or something. This thing on the front here is the skull of a mink. I found it in an antique shop in Somerset somewhere, and I put some half polystyrene balls on there, painted red, just to make it look a bit more freaky, cursed. The sport of robot fighting is one which started in the mid-90s in, some say San Francisco, some say Atlanta, Dragon Con. It's a bit disputed. But the main thing is that robots meet in an arena. It's more like boxing than wrestling in that you have to knock out your opponent and then not hold them down for them to be counted out. In wrestling, you have to pin them. In robot fighting, they're only counted out if they can not show movement while they are not being pinned. If you re-engage, that restarts the countdown. The 150-gram weight class is at least 20 years old, maybe a bit, almost 25 actually. The first ant weight robots were 100 grams, which was up to 150 grams shortly after that. The first event was the Ant Weight World Series, 6 robots in Reading, and in 1999. And it was won by a robot called Odyssey. In the rest of the robot fighting world, there was Robot Wars for heavyweights, which weigh 100, initially about 80 kilos, then up to 100, and then 110 kilos. In America, you can find BattleBots, which is up to 250 pounds, which is about 113 kilos. The UK live circuit generally is mostly ant weights and beetle weights, which are 1.5 kilos. Ant weights are what we fight here because there weren't really any scheduled ant weight events in London when I started organising these. At Rock and Robots, the ant weight tournament is relatively straightforward. I try to make it so everyone gets at least 4 fights, depending on how many entrants we have. There is always a final. The fights are soundtracked live by a drummer, and if we can't get a drummer, there'll be a record on playing something intense. So the winner of the robot tournament gets a gold medal like this. I have this because I've won 2 of them, and there's also a rumble where everyone can submit a robot to go into one fight where everyone fights at the same time. The last one standing gets one of these, a silver medal. And I can show you this because I've won 3 of them. The logo in the middle there is of a figure doing a T-pose, which is the logo of my record company / just general limited company, Tolerable Music. It's from a screenshot from one of my music videos where I T-pose in the middle as part of the dance routine. So in the most recent tournament on the 8th of September, Mr. Bones didn't do particularly well. First fight, poor driving meant I was not able to do a successful grab on someone having his first fight ever, was pushed into the pit. He went on to place very well in the tournament. It's a very well-designed robot called The Robot That Ate My Sandwich. Second fight was against a walker called Scuttleby, which is allowed to be a bit heavier because of there being a trade-off of encouraging innovation, but obviously that walking robots have a disadvantage over wheeled robots generally because they lack traction and can also lack maneuverability and can be slow. But on this occasion, I tried to drive around Scuttleby and didn't really drive it right. Therefore, just got pushed into the pit. In my third fight, I came up against Tutu Liftman, who had previously won the tournament a couple of months ago. And I thought there was no way I was going to win this, but I was able to get a couple of really good grabs and turns over. It's probably the best fight I've had with Mr. Bones. And we ended up going into the pit at the same time with there being no clear aggressor, which under the rules, which you can check out at rules.rockandrobots.co.uk, because that happened after 1 minute had passed in the fight, it was declared a draw, so we got 1 point each. I went into the play-ins to try to get a space in the four-way semi-finals, and that fight went to a tiebreaker, a joust, where I very quickly lost. So I think I placed something like 11th or 12th based on the ranking table, which you can check at hrf.rockandrobots.co.uk. It's the Hall of Fame for this event. The next event's going to be on the 13th of October, and quite soon we're going to be introducing side events to make up for the one act we lose. And we have things planned for that, like 2-on-2 tournaments. There's potential for a UK versus Italy pre-tournament, because we've been speaking a little bit to Robot Arena Challenge from Rome, and maybe one or some of them can come over and have a little tournament against the UK people. If not, we can just do like North versus South, bring over the people from the Essex Hackspace, have London versus Essex. There are definite possibilities here. So, last on the bill. Actually, I normally put myself first on the bill at the gigs, but here I'm going to talk about myself and my music, because as the organizer, I play every Rock and Robots. Eli Gumble is not a stage name. There's no way I could have come up with that on my own. It is my real name, and as a 15-year-old Eli Gumble, I began writing poems for a girl I fancied. That didn't work out so well. Then I started writing songs, but I didn't play any instruments at the time. They were more like the sort of lyrical songs that you wouldn't want to show people. Then a few years later, I started learning ukulele. I was influenced by my sister, who got her own ukulele, and after she taught me a couple of chords, I decided to get my own. My sister was influenced by the YouTubers who played ukulele at the time. I'm kind of ashamed to say that Alex Day featured in that, and Forever Yours by Alex Day was one of the first songs I learned to play. A couple of weeks after that, I started going to Tumblr meetups in London. I didn't really know people there, but I brought my ukulele because I knew a couple of songs and I thought maybe that's a way to make friends. It was. I had probably one of the best times ever, and I knew that I liked entertaining people and being in that sort of community vibe of being the person who can provide music to something. And it all grew from there. I met someone else who was a songwriter at these events, and I wanted to be a songwriter as well. I wanted to impress her a little bit. So I went back to my songs I wrote as a 15-year-old, and I dug one out, wrote some chords to it, and recorded it. That song's called Never Told You. Yeah, I'm going to play it for you at the end of this as my featured. So when I went off to university, which was at the end of that summer, I eventually found the band society. So my university was Warwick. They don't do music degrees, and possibly as a result of that, their band society and their general music societies are a bit more active than those other universities, or they get more involvement from people who are on really the same page in music. Warwick generally had the most active bands and artists of any university in the UK. I don't know if that's still true, but it definitely was for many, many years up until I joined and left in 2016. A couple of Warwick grads who I've been able to put on at Rock and Robots include my friend Abby Daniel, Dark Material, previously known as Shortwave in their Warwick days, and Panda Club, who played, I think, 2 months ago. All very good bands, artists who I would recommend you check out. And it was at Warwick where I really sort of honed my craft and developed and changed my sound. Actually, my first year, I joined the folk society playing folk music, and it was there I learned a lot about, well, just basics of music theory, really. Like when you put a capo on, that actually changes what the chord is, not just that the same shape is the same chord. And also that when you tune an instrument, you tune it to 440 hertz, not just 444 because it looks nice. My first gig was done at Warwick. It was a single song performance of a song called Never Told You at an event called World's Got Talent. It was on a Wednesday morning in the main sort of club room of the Students' Union. It was attended by about 30 people, all sat down. I didn't really get a sound check, so I was just kind of playing my ukulele into a mic as the host was doing their introductions. The panel of judges, after I played my song, after flicking my hair about and thinking I was moshing while playing a ukulele and nudging the mic and apologizing for it. They first thing the judges said was, it was okay. I like your hair. Yeah, I know. I was so annoyed I didn't win. I felt so awkward congratulating people. I thought I had it in the bag, but no. Someone who was singing, I think Daniel Merriweather's Red, got it instead. I assume I beat the guy who was downing a liter of beer from a bottle in. It ended up being about 3 seconds, but I mean, that was quite impressive actually. Things have definitely come on since there. I now host gigs and things are relatively good, but seeing as we're starting something new, I may as well bring you back to the very beginning with the first song I fully wrote. It's called Never Told You. I've got to get the ukulele for this one. Been a long time since I just sang into a webcam. Let's see how it goes. For all those times that I messed up, no reason springs to mind. I guess I just grew up so tall, I left Shorty behind. You know that I'm the kind of guy who will only speak the truth, but there has always been one thing that I never said to you. I never told you you were beautiful, even though nobody could dispute it all. Forever waiting now for you to fall in love with me, but it won't be. But you're still beautiful. Just thinking about the time before I knew. I'm wondering how I spent the days without thinking about you. And then one day you spoke to me when I thought my life was done, and I looked into your eyes and I knew you were the one. But I never told you you were beautiful, even though nobody could dispute it all. Forever waiting now for you to fall in love with me, but it won't be. But you're still beautiful. I thought I had it wrapped up, but then I relocated and there's more of the same. I got sent back a couple levels and I'm awkward again. I cut connections. Maybe I was expecting the loss to be less and more to convince myself was a guaranteed gain, but it's this guaranteed pain. Game over, back to the start. And when you start to scratch, it's easier to end up with scars. She could be at this university, but she'll have to be the first to speak, cause I build those feelings up and then I never tell her, just like when I never told you you were beautiful, even though nobody could dispute it all. Forever waiting now for you to fall in love with me, but it won't be. But you're still beautiful. But you're still beautiful. Thank you for listening to the Rock and Robots Pilot Podcast. The next event is going to be on the 13th of October. Our featured artists are going to be Hypnobard and Lovell, and also me. We will have a robot tournament as always. I'm not completely sure who's entering yet. I guess more about that on the next podcast, which is going to be closer to the next event and will be all done completely before. So we'll have a talk about some of the stuff that happened at this tournament, because some interesting stuff happened and there were little bits of clarifications and controversies which needed to be sorted out. So thank you for listening. I'll see you then.